Hey Ken, welcome to the Community Living Golf Tournament. Just want to give you an opportunity here to view your swing at regular speed. Then we'll put you back in your dress position and go ahead and take a look at a few things for you. So while we got you back here in your setup, dress position looks really nice. We can see here that your spine is straight and on a tilt. Legs come down in a nicely unlocked position. Arms hang down nice and naturally out in front of you. Club works out to the ball. So you're achieving really nice posture in association with really good balance as well. Looks fabulous. At this point in time, we can also take a look at your alignment. We see your feet going in this direction. We'll carry that out towards the fairway. Now theoretically, your club face is supposed to run parallel to your feet. Parallel lines on camera have an appearance of converging. So we're sort of set up down maybe the right center of the fairway, so not an issue. From here, we'll do a little split screen comparison between you and Brandt Snedeker. Now we've got some color-coded lines on the screen, just to use as visual reference as it pertains to swing plane. We can see with Snedeker, as he draws the golf club back, he creates good shoulder rotation, bringing the arms and hands back as well as the club. And we see the club coming back on plane directly along the red line. At this point in time, we're going to start to create some wrist hinge into play, which is going to transition the club head from being below our hands to being above. And from here working the club now from red up to yellow. When we finally set the club at the top of the backswing, we're going to see that the left arm and the club are situated on the yellow line. We have full shoulder rotation, and we do this about a very stable right leg, keeping the weight on the inside part of our right foot. With you, we watch you initiate your takeaway. Nice turning of the shoulders, drawing the hands and arms back. Now you do have a tendency of pulling the club just a little bit underneath the swing plane, so just a little bit left of the red line. So not really a big deal as long as you eventually incorporate some wrist hinge here, the club will recover. So we see some great wrist hinge there. The club is starting to recover and everything's great. At this point in time, you're turning really well, pretty stable right side, looks great. Looks like your wrist hinge stops now. One thing you want to do is as you create your wrist hinge through here, you want to continue with some more wrist hinge to the top, because wrist hinge creates club travel, and that would allow you to have a longer swing. So we can see that your golf swing is a little bit abbreviated and short due to the fact that you haven't maximized your wrist hinge. Anyways, you've created good rotation, stable right side, you've pretty much maintained your spinal tilt. Everything looks really good at this point in time. Yeah, your arm plane's a little bit shallow, you don't get your left arm up on the yellow line, and the golf swing's a little bit short due to the fact that you haven't maximized the wrist hinge. Anyways, as we create our transition back in the ball, simply want to move our weight from our right to our left, fire our knees and our hips to the target, unwind the core, and fire the hands. And in doing so, we want to make sure that we're bringing the golf club from yellow back down on top of red. And that's exactly what we see here. We see the club returning back to being on plane. The other thing we want to point out is the relationship between the lead forearm and the club. We refer to this as the backwards check mark. Simply means the club head right now is remaining above and behind his hands, and therefore we're retaining angle, and this is going to allow us to create a lot of power in the golf swing, let alone getting the club to return back to plane, which is ultimately going to allow us to hit a straight golf shot as well. With you create your transition back into the ball. Good movement with your feet, knees, and hips. You're pushing the club a little bit out in front of you. So basically, let me go one frame. So at this point in time, we can basically, we can look at your lead forearm and we can look at your club and say, hey, you know what, I've got my backwards check mark. So creating some power in the golf swing won't be an issue. The only problem here is that the golf club has not returned back to plane. The club is coming into the ball too steep. Just means that the club shaft right now is sitting at about 55 degrees when the club shaft theoretically should be maybe around 34. So that club would be on a completely different angle coming into the ball. It would be much stronger if that shaft is shallowed out, and then obviously we can hit the ball straight in accordance to our alignment if the club returns back to plane. So what we understand a little bit is, I said you're aiming down sort of the right center of the fairway, so you may be coming a little over the top to try and pull the ball a little bit more back on line. So as we go ahead and continue to track the club heads coming into the ball, basically what we ideally are looking for is that the club comes into the golf ball directly from the red line, so directly from being on plane. And again, I mentioned that this is ultimately what allows us to hit a straight shot in accordance to where we're aimed. So with you, you're coming in, club's already steep, the club's going to stay out in front, and it never returns back to the red line. So you're coming into the ball as such. Okay, so that's going to influence a little bit of what's referred to as an outside to inside swing path. We can clear this off the screen. We can see with Snedeker, his club's inside the ball. It expands out to make contact and then moves through in a nice natural subtle arc. Your club's a little bit more directly behind the ball. I would like the frame sort of in between that. So let's just notice sort of from here where that club goes. So it goes pretty aggressively to the left. So again, if you square the club face up to that path, then you'll hit the golf shot sort of in this direction. So that's a little bit more to the left of where you were aimed. So it's a little bit of a compensation. If we do happen to over-release the club, not only does it get pulled, but then we hit a bit of a pull draw or pull hook. If the club face remains a little bit open, the ball won't start as far left, has left to right spin, then we hit a pull slice. And if the club face stays in a good position, it'll just sort of stay out in this direction and maybe with a soft fade, and that will turn out perfect for you. Anyways, as you carry through the golf shot, you have good footwork. You're getting up on your right toe almost and finishing. So just taking a look at the left side of the screen, we just want that heel to come off the ground, up on the toe of the right foot, so we can count all the spikes in the shoe. Right now you got a little bit of weight still on the toes of your right foot, and your hands are a little bit low and congested to the left, and that's just because you're sort of swinging in that direction again from an out to in. Another thing I want to just sort of point out here quickly for you is that in this particular shot, when you hit it, we can see you sort of hit almost the top of the ball, so you got a very low trajectory happening. The reason why you're catching the ball low on the face is due to the fact that if I just go ahead and mark your head here, really want to pay attention to sort of your forehead and your chin. So and you know what, I'm going to draw a line on your spine as well, because the spine is very important, because it actually controls what the head's doing. So let me clear that off the screen and put your spine up. So the whole point of achieving good posture is that when we bring the golf club back, we want to rotate on that posture. So we turn our shoulders, maintain the posture, and keep our head in the same position, which you pretty much have done. So what happens with you is when you come back into the ball, you have a tendency of raising that spine and pulling your head away from the shot. So see how your spine's pulling up and your head's pulled out away from this line. So look how much further away your forehead is now from here. Okay? And your spine has pulled up into here. So just that little bit of amount of movement, which actually in real life is not a little. It's probably, your forehead's probably moved a solid 3 inches, and your spine's come up probably at least the same. And therefore, 3 inches in a golf swing, pulling your club 3 inches off the ground, you're very easy to hit the top of the ball. Okay, so that's the reason why you've caught the ball low on the club face. Overall, I mean, your athletic ability here is really nice. Your hands work well. They come back. They fire through. Your core's working well. You coil back. You uncoil. You get yourself through to a good finish because you have some pretty decent footwork that you do need to refine a little, but at least there is footwork there that's allowing you to get through the golf shot. Your alignment is a hair out to the right, but the major thing is you come over the top. So that's the thing we need to improve upon. When we bring this golf club back, you can't have this over the top move and then causing you to swing the golf club from out to in. And then at that point in time, you got to manipulate with the club face so that you can sort of keep the ball back online. So when you do hit the ball well, when you do get the ball on the face of the club, I would hazard to guess a lot of your golf shots sort of have the tendency of sort of moving from left to right. You hit these fades. Okay, and then the other thing too is your golf swing is way too good to sort of hit the top of the ball. So you definitely want to learn how to make motions, even if it's this motion. You just want to learn how to definitely get the ball on the face of the club all the time, because at least with the motion you're making, I mean, you'll still advance the ball, get good trajectory, and get it flying out there. Right now, hitting this low ball right along the ground just doesn't really match the nice dynamic motion that you're creating. Okay. Anyways, if at any point in time you ever want to work on any of these aspects in your swing, I'm over at Glen Abbey. Certainly feel free to reach out. All my contact information is at the end of this analysis. And if you're involved with any golf tournaments at all and looking for a unique gift to provide to the guests, you can certainly feel free to contact me as well. Okay. Anyways, hope you had a great day. Hope you enjoyed getting an opportunity to see your swing on video. And hope you have a great summer, and maybe we might hear from you. Take care.